If you're heading into retirement watching your savings disappear faster than you ever imagined, I'm about to show you 5 strategies that can literally double the money you keep in your pocket without earning a single extra dollar. I know that sounds impossible, but stick with me because what I'm sharing today isn't about clipping more coupons or eating ramen for dinner. This is about strategic moves that most retirees never even consider, moves that can transform your financial reality starting right now. And I'm not talking about get-rich-quick schemes or risky investments. These are proven, practical strategies that everyday retirees are using right now to stretch every dollar further. Let me start with something that might sound radical but could be the single most powerful financial decision you make in retirement. It's called the geographic advantage. Let me break down what this really means. You know how your Social Security check is the same amount whether you live in San Francisco or Pensacola. That's the key right there. Most retirees are unknowingly losing 30% of their wealth, not to bad investments or frivolous spending, but to hidden state taxes and inflated local costs that are bleeding them dry month after month. Let's say you're working part-time making $20,000 a year. By maximizing these deductions and contributions within your budget, you could effectively eliminate your tax burden entirely. That's money you're not tipping to the government anymore. That's money working for your future instead of disappearing into the federal coffers. And here's something most people miss. Sometimes moving just 1 or 2 counties over can slash your property taxes and cost of living by 40% or more. Imagine your Social Security check staying exactly the same, but suddenly your property tax drops from $4,000 a year to $1,500. Your grocery bill gets cut nearly in half. Your homeowner's insurance becomes reasonable again. You've just given yourself a massive raise without working a single extra hour. I'm talking about an extra $500, sometimes even $1,000 a month in your pocket. That's the difference between scraping by and actually living the retirement you dreamed about. Let me give you a real example. I know a couple, Jim and Sandra, who lived in Northern Illinois their whole lives. Their property taxes alone were eating up $9,000 a year. They moved just across the border to a small town in Tennessee, found a beautiful home for less than what they sold theirs for, and their property taxes dropped to $1,200 annually. That's $7,800 back in their pocket every single year. They didn't change their lifestyle. They didn't sacrifice anything. They just made one strategic move and effectively gave themselves a $650 monthly raise. Now let's talk about something brand new for 2026 that most retirees don't even know exists yet. The One Big Beautiful Bill Act just created a $6,000 senior tax deduction. And when you combine this with what they're calling the super catch-up contributions, you've got a powerful tool to shield your money from taxes. If you're over 60 and still working even part-time, and let's be honest, a lot of us are because we have to be or because we want to stay active, you can now contribute up to $35,750 to your workplace retirement plan. I know what you're thinking. Who has that kind of money to set aside? But here's the thing. Even if you can only do a fraction of that amount, you're keeping money that would have gone to taxes. Every dollar you shield is a dollar you get to keep and grow. Let's shift gears and talk about something that requires zero lifestyle change but can put thousands back in your pocket. That $6,000 senior deduction isn't just for people still working. If you have investment income, pension income, or you're doing some consulting work, this deduction can offset that income too. It's a shield that protects more of your money from being taxed away. Think about it this way. If you're in the 22% tax bracket, that $6,000 deduction is saving you $1,320 in actual tax you don't have to pay. That's over $100 a month you keep instead of sending to Washington. The third strategy is one that breaks my heart because I see so many people get this wrong, and once you lock in this decision, you can't undo it. I'm talking about the Social Security bridge strategy. Far too many retirees take their Social Security at 62 because they're scared, they're tired, or they simply don't understand the math. But taking it at 62 locks you into a permanent 30% pay cut for the rest of your life. Think about that. 30% less money every single month for the next 20, 25, maybe 30 years. Now, I get it. The idea of waiting feels impossible when you need money now. But here's what most people don't realize. For every year you wait past your full retirement age, your benefit increases by 8%. That's not a typo. 8% per year. If you can hold off until age 70, your monthly check could be 76% larger than what you would have gotten at 62. Let me paint you a picture of what this looks like in real life. Say your benefit at 62 would be $1,400 a month. If you wait until 70, that same benefit becomes $2,464. That's over $1,000 more every single month for the rest of your life. Now you're probably thinking, but how do I survive those 8 years years without that income. This is where the bridge comes in. You use a small portion of your savings, or you pick up a passion project that brings in some income. Maybe you downsize your home and use that equity. Maybe you tap into a side hustle you've always wanted to try. You're essentially bridging the gap with temporary income so you can lock in that permanently higher payment. This single decision can be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars over your lifetime. It's not just about the monthly amount, it's about inflation protection, because those cost of living adjustments apply to a much bigger base number. If inflation bumps everyone's benefit by 3% next year, 3% of $2,400 is a lot more than 3% of $1,400. That gap just keeps getting wider as the years go by. Let's shift gears and talk about something that requires zero lifestyle change but can put thousands back in your pocket. In 2026, we're in a completely different interest rate environment than we've been in for the past 15 years, but I'm shocked at how many retirees still have their emergency fund or their savings sitting in a traditional big bank account earning basically nothing. I'm talking 0.01% interest. Meanwhile, high-yield savings accounts and certificates of deposit are paying 4, sometimes 5% right now. If you've got $50,000 sitting in a regular savings account, you're earning maybe $5 a year in interest. Move that exact same money into a high-yield savings account, and you're earning $2,000 a year. That's almost $200 extra every single month without taking on any additional risk. But here's where it gets even better. Use a strategy called CD laddering. Instead of locking all your money up in one 5-year CD, you split it up. Put some in a 6-month CD, some in a 1 year, some in 18 months, and some in 2 years. As each CD matures, you've got cash available if you need it, or you can roll it into a new CD at whatever the current rates are. This way, you're always earning those higher rates on the bulk of your money, but you've also got liquidity. You're never stuck. This is what I call turning lazy money into working money. Your cash is sitting there anyway. Why not make it work harder for you? This isn't complicated. This isn't risky. This is just being smart about where you park your money. The beauty of this strategy is that it's completely FDIC insured up to $250,000 per account. You're not gambling in the stock market. You're not taking chances with your nest egg. You're simply parking your money somewhere that actually pays you for the privilege of holding it. And in today's environment, that difference between 0.01% and 4.5% is massive. On $100,000, that's the difference between earning $10 a year and earning $4,500 a year. Now, for the fifth strategy, and this one might sound small, but I promise you it's not. I call it the subscription and fee audit, and it follows what I like to call the 1% rule. Here's what most retirees don't realize. They're bleeding money every single month through fees and subscriptions they don't even remember signing up for. I'm talking about that 1% management fee on your 401k that's costing you $1,000 a year in a $100,000 portfolio. That's money gone forever, and it compounds against you year after year. Then there are the zombie subscriptions, the cable package you never watch, the landline you forgot you still have, the insurance policy you've been auto-renewing for 15 years without shopping around, the gym membership you haven't used since before the pandemic. I want you to do something right now. I want you to pull up your bank and credit card statements from the last 3 months. Go through every single recurring charge. Ask yourself, do I actually use this? Is there a cheaper alternative? Can I negotiate this down? Call your cable company and tell them you're switching to a streaming service. Unless they can cut your bill in half, they will. Call your insurance agent and get quotes from 3 competitors. I guarantee you'll find a better rate. Switch your investments from high-fee mutual funds to low-cost index funds or ETFs. That 1% fee difference might not sound like much, but over 20 years, it's the difference between having $300,000 and having $400,000. I've seen retirees save $300 to $500 a month just by doing this audit. That's $6,000 a year back in your pocket. That's a nice vacation. That's peace of mind. That's breathing room in your budget. Look, I know this stuff can feel overwhelming. You're sitting there thinking about moving to a new state, changing when you take Social Security, restructuring your savings, auditing all your expenses. It's a lot. But here's what I want you to understand. You don't have to do all of this tomorrow. Pick one thing, just one. Maybe you start by opening a high-yield savings account this week. Maybe you call your cable company and negotiate. Maybe you sit down with the calculator and really run the numbers on your Social Security options. Small steps lead to big changes, and every single one of these strategies is within your control right now. You're not behind. You're not too late. You're exactly where you need to be to start making smarter decisions with the resources you have. And And if you found this helpful, do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future videos, and drop a comment below telling me which of these 5 strategies you're going to tackle first. I read every single comment, and your questions help me create content that actually serves you. Remember, retirement isn't about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. And with these 5 strategies, you're going to keep a whole lot more. You've got this.